Hello, my name is Mari. Just 1 year ago, I couldn't even say a simple sentence in English without overthinking, not even something like how are you? I felt completely lost. Today I want to share how I learned English in just 1 year without spending money on expensive courses and without wasting time on ineffective methods. But this isn't just my story, it can be your story too. If you've ever felt frustrated, stuck, or embarrassed because of your English, keep watching. Because I've been exactly where you are now, and I promise if you follow my story step by step you'll understand exactly how to improve your English. So let's go back to the beginning. My journey didn't start with motivation. It started with a big failure that changed my life. I always dreamed of working for an international company. My goal was to become a graphic designer at a big international advertising agency. I worked day and night to be the best in what I do. Finally, after years of hard work, I got my chance. I applied for a major company and a recruiter emailed me, "Congratulations, you've been selected for an interview." I was thrilled. I pictured myself starting a new life, earning a great salary and working with amazing people. Then the interview came. I still remember it clearly. I opened Zoom and there were 3 people on the screen, all native English speakers. As soon as they started talking, it felt like someone hit fast forward on their voices. I couldn't understand anything. The first question came, "Mari, can you tell us a bit about yourself and your design experience?" I froze. I knew the answer in my head, but I couldn't say it. I stuttered, yes. I'm graphic designer. I design many projects, good. I am very good. The silence that followed felt painful. They asked another question, but I still couldn't respond. In the end, one of them smiled and said, "All right, Mari. Thank you for your time." And I knew exactly what that meant. I didn't get the job, not because I wasn't skilled, but because I couldn't speak English. That day I understood the real power of English. It wasn't just a language, it was the key to my dream. And I didn't have that key. I felt ashamed, frustrated, and angry with myself. For years, I told myself I didn't need English, that being good at my job was enough. But now, I knew the truth. Without English, I was invisible. That night I made a decision. I was going to learn English and I was going to learn it fast. Most people start by signing up for expensive classes. But I didn't, because I'd tried that already, and it didn't work. A year earlier, I joined an online English course. The teacher made us memorize word lists, do grammar exercises, and study boring rules. But after 3 months I still couldn't hold a real conversation. So I knew classes weren't the answer. If I wanted to learn quickly, I needed something that worked in real life. That's when I created my own 1-year method. And now I'm going to share it with you, step by step. Part 1, the first 15 days. One of the biggest mistakes beginners make is thinking they need more vocabulary. I used to think the same. I believed if I memorized 1,000 words, I'd become fluent. But in reality I already knew hundreds of words and I still couldn't speak. So during the first 15 days, my goal wasn't to learn new words, my goal was to use the words I already knew. I had to learn how to speak with what I had. That's when I created a survival sentence list. I sat down and asked myself, what do I need to say in daily life? I wrote down 50 simple, real-life sentences. For example, "Hi, how are you? Can you repeat that please?" But writing sentences wasn't enough. I had to speak them, and that's where the real challenge began. Every morning I read those 50 sentences out loud. Not once. Not twice. 10 times. At first my tongue felt slow and heavy. But after 5 days something changed, the sentences became automatic. For example, in the shower I'd say, "I'm taking a shower. The water is hot. I feel relaxed. While making breakfast. I'm making eggs. I like eggs. They're easy to cook." At first I felt a little stupid. But then I realized. This was my private classroom. No one could hear me. No one could judge me. And within 1 week, my brain started thinking in English. Step 3, I practiced 5 sentences a day, but with a twist. I didn't just read them, I copied them exactly from movies or real conversations. I repeated each sentence 10 times with the same emotion, speed, and pronunciation as the native speaker. This helped me fix my accent and sound more natural. By the end of the first 15 days, something amazing happened. I stopped translating in my head. I could say basic sentences without thinking. I felt more confident. But this was just the beginning. After 15 days, it was time for the real practice, the practice that changed everything. Part 2, the real practice begins. After fixing my biggest mistake, I was finally ready to take the next step. I could say basic sentences without thinking and I felt more confident. But I knew that wasn't enough. I didn't want to just say short sentences. I wanted real conversations. I wanted to understand native speakers without translating. I wanted fluency. I kept practicing, but something felt wrong. I wanted to speak fluently, but I still struggled to find the right words fast enough. I realized something important. When I tried to speak English, my brain was too slow. I knew the words, but I couldn't put them together quickly. I needed a method to make speaking feel natural. So I created a new plan, and this plan changed everything. If you follow it, you'll improve faster than you ever thought possible. That's when I started using the question-answer method. It's simple but powerful. Here's how it works. Step 1, ask yourself a simple question in English. Step 2, answer it immediately without thinking too much. Step 3, repeat the process with different answers. Example question. What did you do today? At first I answered. I worked. Then I added more. I worked on my project. I worked on my project for 3 hours. I worked on my project for 3 hours, then I took a break and had some coffee. Every time I answered, I added more details. This trained my brain to think in English and speak without hesitation. Another example, question, what did you eat for breakfast? Answers, I ate eggs. I ate eggs and toast. I ate eggs, toast, and a banana. I ate eggs, toast and a banana because I was really hungry. I ate eggs, toast and a banana because I was really hungry and I love eating a big breakfast. I did this every single day for at least 30 minutes. My speaking speed improved dramatically. My sentences became longer. I stopped translating in my head. But I had another big problem, pronunciation. Even when I spoke English, I still sounded like a foreigner. Native speakers understood me, but my accent was strong. So I used the repetition technique. One of the best ways to improve pronunciation without a teacher. Here's how the repetition technique works. 1. I listen to a native speaker from movies, YouTube, or podcasts. 2. I paused the audio after each sentence. 3. I repeated the sentence several times to match the original. Example from a movie, the character said, I don't know what you're talking about. I paused and repeated, I don't know what you're talking about. After 10 repetitions, my voice started to sound similar to the native speaker. Another example from a podcast, it was a beautiful day, so I decided to go for a walk. I paused and repeated it 10 times. I did this every day for 30 minutes. After 1 month, my pronunciation improved so much that even native speakers said, wow, your English sounds really natural. I knew vocabulary was important, but I also knew that memorizing word lists didn't work. So I used a better method, the story method. Here's how it works. 1. I took 5 new words every day. 2. I created a short story using all 5 words. 3. I read the story out loud 10 times. 4. I used the new words in real conversations. Example, words, excited, invitation, party, arrive, surprise. Story, I was very excited because I received an invitation to a big party. When I arrived, I got a huge surprise. It was my birthday party. I did this every day. After 3 months, I had learned over 1,000 new words without memorizing anything. One of the biggest problems English learners have is this: They think in their native language first, then translate into English. This makes speaking slow and unnatural. So I trained my brain to think in English. Here's how. Example 1. When I walked outside, I said in my mind, the sky is blue. The weather is hot. I see people walking. That man is wearing a red shirt. 2. I asked myself questions and answered in English. Example. Question. What am I doing right now? Answer. I am sitting in a chair, drinking coffee, and writing in my notebook. 3. I wrote my daily journal in English. Every night I wrote about my day. At first my sentences were simple, but after 1 month, my writing became more natural. After a few weeks, something amazing happened. I stopped translating. English words came naturally into my mind. I also made a simple but powerful rule. I must speak English for at least 2 hours every day, no excuses. If I had no one to talk to, I talked to myself. If I didn't have time, I spoke while cooking, cleaning, or walking. If I felt lazy, I reminded myself, English is my future. I cannot quit. Part 3, My Final Breakthrough. Now that I had built the habit of listening and speaking, I wanted to go even further. But I realized something very important. Just listening and speaking wouldn't be enough. I had to understand grammar and sentence structure properly. I didn't want to make grammar mistakes that could confuse people. And I wanted to sound more natural, so I started observing how native speakers build their sentences. Every time I heard a sentence, I didn't just repeat it. I asked myself, why is this sentence structured like this? I read blogs, books, and news articles. I paid attention to how they structured their sentences. Then, I tried to copy that style in my diary. One thing that really accelerated my learning was shadowing. I found videos of native speakers, put on headphones, and repeated every word immediately after them, matching their speed and pronunciation. I did this for at least 20 minutes a day. After just a few weeks, my pronunciation improved dramatically. Another powerful trick that helped me, watching English movies with subtitles. But I didn't just watch passively. I paused after every sentence and repeated it out loud. I focused on pronunciation, tone, rhythm. Slowly my English started sounding more natural. At this stage I realized something crucial. English is not just about words and grammar, it's also about confidence. Many people know English, but they're too scared to speak. So I made a decision. I will not be afraid of making mistakes. I started speaking to people in English whenever I got the chance, at work, at the store, with friends. I spoke even when I was unsure. And I noticed something surprising. People understood me. Even if I made small mistakes, they didn't laugh at me. This gave me the confidence to keep going. But then, I faced my biggest fear, talking to native English speakers. I was terrified. I thought, what if they don't understand me? What if I freeze? So, I came up with a strategy. I prepared 10 common conversation topics and practiced them every day. For example, how was your day? What do you do for work? What's your favorite food? I practiced answering these questions fluently. Then I took the leap. I joined an online English practice group. At first, I was nervous. But then I realized everyone was there to learn, just like me. I made friends from different countries and we practiced together. This not only improved my English but also made learning fun. As I reached the final stage of my journey, I felt an unshakable confidence growing inside me. I was no longer the same person who had been rejected for poor English. I had transformed myself step by step through effort, practice, and the right mindset. One day, I was speaking to myself in the mirror. But this time something felt different. I wasn't hesitating. I wasn't translating in my head. The words flowed naturally. It felt like magic. But it wasn't magic, it was the result of months of work. That same day I tested my progress with a native speaker. I joined an online discussion group. At first I was nervous, but I told myself, I've worked too hard to doubt myself now. Then I spoke and the words came out, clear, confident, natural. I understood everything. I responded without fear. People nodded, listened, and asked me questions. That was the day I knew I had achieved fluency. 1 year after I started, I applied for my dream job again. But this time I was a new version of Mari. I walked into the interview room. Confident and ready. I didn't hesitate. I didn't feel small. I wasn't afraid of English. I answered every question with ease. I wasn't just speaking English, I was owning it. I could see it in their eyes, they were impressed. Not just with my English, but with my transformation. A few days later I got the call. Mari, congratulations. You got the job. For a second I couldn't believe it. My dream job. The same company that rejected me before. But now they wanted me. My starting salary? $5,000 a month. More than I ever imagined earning. I stood there, holding my phone, hands shaking, eyes full of tears. The first thing I did? I called my parents. Mom, Dad. I did it. My mother started crying. And my father, a man who rarely shows emotions, simply said, "We always knew you could." And in that moment I realized I wasn't just doing this for myself, I was doing it for them too. With my first paycheck, I bought my father a beautiful watch, something he always wanted but never bought for himself. For my mother I bought a gold necklace. She had sacrificed so much for me and our family. And now it was my turn to give back. When I gave them the gifts, they hesitated. They said, "We don't need anything, my daughter." But I shook my head. "No, this is my way of saying thank you. Thank you for believing in me even when I didn't believe in myself." And in that moment I knew it was all worth it. Every struggle, every late night, every moment of doubt, every time I wanted to quit, it was all worth it. Key lessons from my journey. Now let me share the most important things I learned. The things that helped me become fluent in English in just a few months. 1. Mindset is everything. Most people don't learn English because they believe they can't. I believed that too. But when I changed my mindset, everything changed. I told myself, English is not difficult. I can learn it just like any other skill. I stopped saying, "I am bad at English," and started saying, "I am improving every day." If you think you can't do it, you won't. But if you believe you can, you will find a way. 2. Surround yourself with English. I made English a part of my daily life. I changed my phone's language to English. I watched only English content. I listened to English songs, even if I didn't understand all the lyrics. I followed English-speaking influencers on social media. Every day I was feeding my brain with English. I also made sure to speak and think in English. 3. Speaking without fear. I was afraid of mistakes, but I learned they're part of learning. Native speakers care more about your effort than perfection. So I forced myself to speak. I spoke to shopkeepers in English. I asked strangers for directions in English. And I even started talking to myself in English whenever I was alone. The more I spoke, the better I became. 4. Active listening and shadowing. Listening is just as important as speaking. I trained my ears to understand spoken English by listening to English podcasts, audiobooks, and conversations. But I didn't just listen passively, I practiced shadowing. Shadowing means listening to a sentence and repeating it immediately, mimicking the pronunciation and rhythm. This helped me improve my accent and fluency. 5. Expanding my vocabulary smartly. At first, I tried memorizing long lists of words, but I quickly realized that was useless. Instead, I learned words in context. I focused on phrases instead of single words. For example, instead of memorizing the word happy, I learned phrases like, "I feel so happy today." "That movie made me really happy." Learning in context made it easier to remember and use words naturally. 6. Grammar without books. I didn't spend hours studying grammar books. Instead, I learned grammar naturally by listening and speaking. When I made a mistake, I noted it and corrected myself. For example, I used to say, "He go to school." When someone corrected me, I understood the correct sentence: he goes to school. The best way to learn grammar is by using the language, not memorizing rules. 7. Consistency over perfection. Some people wait to speak until they've learned everything perfectly. That's a mistake. I started speaking from day one, even with just a few words. I made a rule: every day I will do something in English. Some days I spoke for 10 minutes, some days I wrote a short paragraph, some days I listened to a podcast. The key was consistency. Even on days when I felt lazy, I still did something. You don't need expensive classes. You don't need a perfect environment. You just need a strong desire and a commitment to practice every day. Imagine yourself 1 year from now, speaking English fluently, confidently. Imagine the opportunities that will come your way. Imagine how proud you will feel. Start today. Speak, listen, practice, and never give up. Your future self will thank you. This is not just about learning English, it's about changing your life. And now, I want to say something to you: if I can do it, you can do it too. It doesn't matter where you start. It doesn't matter how bad you think your English is. What matters is that you start today, right now. I know it's hard. I know it feels impossible sometimes. But trust me, the only thing standing between you and fluency is consistency. Stop doubting yourself. Stop making excuses. Surround yourself with English. Speak, listen, read, write every single day. Make mistakes. Learn from them. Improve. Because here's the truth: the pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret lasts forever. So what will you choose? Choose discipline. Choose growth. Choose success. Your journey to fluency starts now. If this story inspired you, like this video and subscribe to my channel. I'll be with you every step of the way. Let's do this together.